All right, here we are with Wojciech from the Bureau of Architecture and Urban Planning in the city of Warsaw. Thank you for being here. It's really interesting to have a first meeting with you. I'm in Poland as well, so I'm very eager to learn about Warsaw, many dimensions of history, planning, architecture, etc. And you are probably one of the go-to people for that. So thank you for being here.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much.
So we are going to do first a city walkability rating and then talk a little bit about some of the things that are going on in Warsaw. So for our city walkability ratings, we do scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the lowest, 10 the highest. And since you're an avid cycler, anyway, I think it's in general interesting to include cycling. So let's do cycling, public transit, and walkability for the city of Warsaw. What would your scores be?
I should rank the transit and walkability separately.
Separately, yeah. Let's start with cycling.
Well, I think Warsaw is a very nice city to cycle, though of course it's not Copenhagen or Amsterdam. I think I would give Warsaw a very strong 6. Well, of course, knowing how it used to be back in the days when it was not so easy to cycle. I've been cycling through also for more than 10 years. I know from where we came from. I know where we are going towards. I know there is still some network of the cycling paths to be done, but we are on a very good way, and well, cycling is a very strong 6. In terms of public transportation, I would give a very, very strong 8 because we have a very good network of transportation. We have buses, we have the trams, we have also the subway, and these 3 combined together give us a very good network of transportation. Just one fact: in 2012, when we had when the Euro 2012 was hosted in Warsaw, apart from other cities in Poland and Ukraine, I mean, of course, the European Football Championships. Warsaw was ranked as in a very top of the cities in terms of public transportation. Well, it was ranked so high. The ranking was due to the colors, and we got the white color. So it was ranked so high. It was so good we didn't need to do anything in terms of transportation, not to put any new lines, not to do any more with the metro. So it was very good back in the days, and we are still improving. So it is a very strong 8. I'm not giving a 10 because I know, well, you know, in the Platonic sense, you know, you can't be the best, of course. It is very important to have some you know, aim to go to. In terms of walking, I would give a very strong 5. I think it also still has to do a lot of you know, pedestrianization. We still have a lot of sites which are waiting for some you know, modernization for the pedestrians. Of course, this means not only making it easy for like people just to walk. Of course, I mean the accessibility of all the places in terms of people who have well, can't walk precisely or have kind of disabilities with looking and so on. So I mean, so we have been doing this. It's very important for us, and every site which is modernized nowadays have these separate elements which are implemented in terms of accessibility, in terms of pedestrianization, in terms of doing the cycling paths. Of course, we can't forget about the greenery, which is being implemented all the way in Warsaw, though we are a very green capital, a very green European capital. Well, that sums up, I would say, that both transportation, cycling, and walking through a city can be ranked as a strong 7.
Okay. For public transit, I just want to mention, I just saw it today. I follow I don't know what is the name, the Warsaw Transport Authority, or I just saw it today. They posted, or yesterday, new trams being rolled out. I was very excited. It seems like there's a lot of investment in public transport. I see great social media also about accessibility and making the transit accessible. So that's very exciting. I consider public transit a very important dimension of walkability, as you mentioned, because not everybody can walk. So this is crucial. And then cycling, you mentioned before we started recording that there's a cycling revolution going on there. So this revolution is happening hand in hand sort of with also the infrastructure that's allowing cycling to be more accessible as well, correct?
Yes, well, the cycling revolution in Warsaw started around 2012 when the public bike was introduced to all the public, the Veturilo bike, which is very, very, very popular nowadays. Well, back in the days, the introduction of the public bike started somewhere in places that were not very connected with the biking infrastructure. And this bike revolution started in a way that the public bike was implemented. People started to cycle it, people started to use it, it became very popular. And well, within the biking started the making of the cycle paths. Of course, it didn't happen in the total nowhere. I mean, like we had some of the biking infrastructure, though the perception of biking changed within the last years, because in the 90s, bike was seen as a way of could say leisure, of a way of spending your free time. And the transition became in the last 10 years when people started to cycle to their work. People started to use it as a normal way of communication. They started to commute from home to work, from work to home. I would say that COVID even did a lot of changes in that, because people started to use bike on a regular daily basis as a way to just, transport themselves as they were, distant from other people. So that was a kind of a feature that also made its way within the last 2 years. Nevertheless, the changes are happening. We see the increase of cyclists, and also the increase of cyclists that are cycling through the whole year in Warsaw, including me. And it is very well seen. Even in rainy days, we can now see a lot of people. And of course, the cycle jams, which used to happen, and we were seeing it on the pictures from Copenhagen and Amsterdam. They are happening in Warsaw nowadays. Of course, more or less they are happening in the warmer days, but they can be seen already here.
Okay, wow, that's exciting. So we were talking earlier as well about how Warsaw is trying to move away from being, like many cities, a car-oriented city to being a more pedestrian-oriented city. You emphasize this a few times, which I find, of course, really super exciting. Warsaw being really focused on moving towards being a much more pedestrian-oriented city. And I think some of the things you talked about dealing with why the challenges related to moving away from being a car-centric city, the chapters of history that led to that. If you want to share a bit about that, I think that was really interesting.
Well, the transition in the Warsaw as a being car-oriented city is a very big challenge. It's a challenge that is not only connected and is only not rooted in the features of Warsaw, but also the features of Poland and Polish people. I think because we are a nation that is very car-oriented and is very and likes cars. This is a thing that is, I would say, social and cultural. It goes way back to the times of communism, when a car happened to be a status of, of your class division, of your class status. When you had a car, you were higher in the class hierarchy. This boomed in the 90s when cars started to be very easy to get, and they were not so high priced and so on. It started in the 80s. When a lot of people started to have cars, but it boomed in the 90s when families started to have 3 cars all of a sudden. And so the transition is not only in the infrastructure, so it's also kind of a transition in the minds of people. And as you probably may understand, there is a lot of the tension about making streets more less car oriented, more pedestrian oriented, because as Jill Penalosa said, we are all pedestrians. When we walk from our car, we started to be a pedestrian. So this is a change that is not going in the division between the cyclists and the car users, or the city, like people that are living in the city, or people that are driving towards the city, but for all the people that are using the public infrastructure. And it is happening. We started to reconnect, the streets of Warsaw, to make it more easy to walk not underground but on the ground, to be this place is more accessible. There is a lot of work to be done still, but I think we have the aims and we know where we want to go and where we want to get, and the changes are happening right now.
Right. I'm so glad you brought up that it's not just an infrastructure change, but also in the minds of people. It's a great quote. I'm going to quote you on that, because at Pedestrian Space, one of the things we always talk about is the psychology of mobility choice. I myself come from very car dependent region of North America, so I understand the car dependence living in Poland now. I find it really interesting with my own background. So I think it's extremely important that you mentioned the social and cultural issues. But earlier, I think before we started recording, you also mentioned this part of the heritage with the 70s, what happened with urbanization, but also the rebuilding after the Second World War, and what
Yes.
exists in this. I really look forward to walking through the city with you. I can't wait. But you have a lot of insight. But if you want to share a little bit about that, I call that spatial heritage, basically. But the spatial heritage.
Yes. Yeah, that's a very important factor, because we have to understand that also as a city which was completely destroyed during the Second World War, and it was a very narrow street city before that. Well, all why it was like that, that's what happened before the war, within the centuries, but after the Second World War, the streets happened to enlarge, not only because of the traffic that was supposed to go through them, but also because it was meant to be a place of political manifestations. So that was the first factor which enlarged the streets in the mid 40s and 50s, and then in somewhere around 1970, because of the trends in all over Europe and the world, which happen to be the trends of making cities more car-oriented. Well, we happen to have these larger streets and all the passages above the street and under the street for the pedestrians to make it easier for cars to go through the city. So yes, and we have a lot of these infrastructural heritage from that 70s, which we still have to cope with, which we have to still do something with that. We try to rearrange this matter. And as I said, we know where we want to go with it, but still, well, people are got used to that in a way. So it's a thing about not only in our everyday life, but also in our head to change.
Well, it's really refreshing to hear. I mean, it's great knowing that you're working on this issue and you're aware of the social dimension so clearly and the cultural dimension. I mean, it's fascinating listening to you talk. I look forward to again, walking through the city with you and, you know, hearing more about the infrastructural heritage and spatial heritage, cultural, all of it, because it all ties together and it all forms a really interesting picture. Warsaw is fascinating, and I'm going to be excited to do more coverage and have you featured more. So thank you.
Thank you very much.